Just let us know in the chat where you're coming from. Would love to know where you're zooming in from. Yes. Hi, Anne in New Jersey. Welcome. Nice to see you.
I'm in Longmont and I'm trying to send this. Let me see.
Windsor, Colorado. Fantastic.
Wonderful. Yay, some of my Midlife people. All right, well, Patty, why don't you get us kicked off? We're going to get started.
All right, ladies, we're going to have an amazing power hour together. Do me a favor, as we've done. Patricia, just if you let us know where you're zooming in from and also how you found out about the workshop and the chat. We just want to welcome each and every one of you so we can get the most out of your time together. I'm going to ask you to go all in, answer questions posed, and engage us and each other in the chat. You can make a decision right now to be fully present. We're often just torn in all different directions. So put your phones on silent. I've already done mine. And we would love to see your face on the screen, as we already have for those of you who are here. Thank you. It does help you retain more if you're fully focused in that way. And we are your tribe, and this is a safe space, free of all judgment and criticism. We're going to leave that at the virtual door. And we'd like our chat to be lively, so please be sure to engage, pop any questions or any comments or thoughts or insights in there. We are your people. So I just give a quick introduction. I'm Patty. I'm the wing woman for today. I'll try and keep things moving. And we'll pop the link tree for Brenda in the chat if Anne, you can help with that. And then I'd just like to briefly introduce Brenda. She is the author of Lady in the Tribe, How to Create Empowering Friendship Circles. She is a life coach, speaker, and girlfriend guru who loves helping women connect, find success, and discover joy through friendship. Her mission is to support women who have lost themselves in their roles as wife and mother and professional. Through her coaching, workshops, retreats, and podcast, Find Your Lady Tribe, Brenda helps women connect and communicate with respect, love, and trust. She holds an MA in Human Resources and has spent decades cultivating her own tribe. Brenda, I'm so excited we are all here today. Take it away.
Oh, Patty, thank you so much. I really appreciate your help, ladies. And I've got a couple of helpers here that are just going to make sure I don't miss any questions. So if you have a question, be sure to throw it in the chat. And I want to definitely get to that. So I want to give kudos to all of you for being here today, because I know that me time is something that we don't always allow ourselves anymore. As women, we are just such givers and always doing for others. So it's so good to see you here doing something for yourself. I am on a mission to help women discover and embody their passions and purpose through connection and create a life that they can get excited about once again. And, you know, my book, Lady in the Tribe, it's based on my own story of basically letting myself go over the years. And I'm not talking about, you know, the yoga pants and weight gain, which all definitely happened. But what I'm talking about is I let go of my own interests and my own activities. And my own friendships became very superficial, and I lost many because, you know, just due to, you know, a busy life, tragedy of a busy life as a mom and a you know, a wife and professional. So, you know, the book kind of tells my story and how I came back from that in a big and powerful way. I'm so excited that, you know, these days I'm able to, I kind of completely turned that around. That old, you know, for years I was kind of going through this funky funk. And, you know, just last year I was honored to represent my community as Mrs. Carbon Valley. And
I saw that. Congratulations.
Doing something that I thought, you know, I would never do. I'm not a pageant girl, but it was a life-changing experience. I, you know, have been able to tour and speak to groups of women like you about the importance of connection. And, you know, but it wasn't always this exciting and great for me, to be honest. I went through, like I kind of mentioned a minute ago, this funk period. I call it my funk years. And, I can't really describe, other than I know that there's other women who have felt this. And if you've ever felt this, like, just general sense of dissatisfaction in your gut, please put a yes in the chat for me. I would really, I just want to see if we've got some others out there. Even though I was super busy with to-do lists and events and all this stuff, I just didn't want to do any of it anymore. And I can't say that looking out in from the outside, it looked like I had this picture perfect life. I have a wonderful, loving husband. I have 2 happy, healthy children. I have 2 cute little snuggle pups. I have a beautiful home. I've got it all. What is wrong with me? Why am I feeling this just feeling like just don't want to get out of bed in the morning anymore? And, I just didn't feel connected to a purpose anymore. And I was just going through the motions. So give me a little wave if you've ever kind of felt that way ever, just like you felt like you were just going through this repeat cycle over and over again. So I just had this gnawing sense of dissatisfaction in my gut. And I could not just find the meaning in my tasks anymore. So, one day, this is embarrassing a little bit, but my kids were like just almost driving, not quite yet, but I was in carpool mom mode, that one, and going back and forth all the time to a school that was 15-20 minutes away. And I was bringing the kids home and I was going through my mental checklist of the things I had to do. I have to get them a snack, get their homework going, get them off to sports, get them back from sports, get them fed for dinner, more homework, off to bed, all just so I could do it again the next day, right? And dropped off the other set of kids that we were carpooling with, and my kids, as per usual, started bickering in the back. This time, I just lost it. I pulled the car over, I screamed, and I stopped the car, and I just started screaming. I said, "You ruined my life!" And I just started crying, and I just put my head down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I dropped an F-bomb. Everything. It was crazy. My kids have never heard anything, such thing out of me. I blew it. And, I just had it. And that was when I realized that, something had to give. That was not me. Have you ever said anything? Please give me a yes in the chat. Have you ever said anything that you just didn't mean? It just came out of you and you go, oh, can I take that back? Please, can I take that back? It's just so upsetting. And my kids just kind of sat there in shock for a second, and then they kind of started giggling because it was a little uncomfortable. And then they told on me when I got home. So, it was okay. It worked out, but I just knew something had to change. And, I said some terrible things, and I just totally regret that to this day. It just really still sits with me in a very bad, I dumped all of my inner garbage all over the 2 people that I loved so much, and the 2 people I was living for. And that was the truth. So maybe you can relate to this, maybe you can't, but I didn't realize it at the time. But over the years, as I've mentioned before, I just had not been taking care of my own mind, body, and spirit. I had just given it all away. So I got to this point where I was just like, who am I? As my kids kind of progressed through into high school, that's when I started having these panic attacks, a little bit of a panic attack, because I won't say I was a helicopter mom, but I had pretty much made everything, my whole life revolved around these kids. And when I realized that they were kind of going to be launching into their next lives, which is what my dream for them was, I started feeling, oh my gosh, who am I without my role as mom? What am I going to do? Where did I go? Right? So I again started panicking. I started just creating all these mom moments with my kids and thinking, well, I got to make sure they come back one day, because I didn't know what to do. And one day I also was working pretty full time on my own business at the time. And I was at a networking event, and my friend Jane was there, and we were kind of like just hello friends, but I really liked her. And one day I just asked her, I said, Jane, are you really okay? And she said, what? You know, she looks at me like kind of funny. And I go, she was an empty nester like I was about to be. And I said, are you really okay? She goes, oh my gosh, I am more than okay. I am free. I get to do what I want, when I want. And now I get to travel and I'm living the life of my dreams. And it was just kind of like this light bulb went on. I know that doesn't seem like a big thing at all, but it just was this light bulb. And I started thinking, she was rattling off all the great stuff she was doing in her life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done that forever. I would love to go to Italy, all these things. And I started just going, I took this deep breath in and I'm like, all of a sudden, instead of focusing on all the lasts and all the things that I would be losing, I started to get excited about the things that were maybe ahead for me, the things that I had not done for a while. And that was when I, started to do some research and carve some stuff out for me. And that's what I'm so passionate about these days, because I do know that women fall into the same trap. What I learned as I was researching for the book and everything is that I'm not alone. Many, many, many women, no matter if it's their kids or their spouse or their career or whatever it is, they put everything into that and they lose focus and they don't give themselves back the time that they need and the things that fill them up. So one of the things that was a kind of a loss that I had experienced was that all the friends that I used to have a huge, big social life. And over the 2 decades before, I had just kind of slowly, they didn't know who I was anymore. And I had totally lost track of some of them. I didn't have any super close personal friends. My family, my husband's my best friend, and my family that was my tribe. And, I missed the fact that I didn't have any good real friends anymore because I had so many social media friends, right? Don't we all have like thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of social media friends? And I didn't make the connection, but who would have thought with all the friends that I had that basically I felt alone. And that was what the research that I did kind of just uncovered was we really have a loneliness epidemic going on in the world. And we're just hungry for connection. So let's see so that brought me to kind of really refocusing on me and building up my tribe of support. And you see this group of ladies here. This is my tribe. Some of them are old friends. One of them is my sister, one couple from high school, but some of them are newer. And some people get to start with a little bit of base to try to nurture, and some people need to work harder at meeting some new people. But I spent some intense time and effort to try to build those relationships back up to a point where they knew me and not just what was the good stuff. What we're here today to do is kind of I'm going to share with you a few tips on kind of getting things turned around or getting you off on a great start to reconnect to your passions, your purpose, and most definitely your people in this power hour of fun. So I'm going to start with the first key, and you'll find in your workbook there that hopefully you have that printed out. If not, just take some notes. But the first key is to determine your why. And I'm sorry if you can't see all that with the faces, the way that it comes on, but the key number 1 is determine your why. All right. So, I work with a lot of women and I ask them, so what's your why? And, often, well, actually, can I get in the chat here? Would anyone mind just chatting with me here? What is your why? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see any comments that come through. What is your why, ladies? Why do you do the things you do?
So sorry, can I ask for a clarification, like why we do the things we do in terms of like with our family or at work, like what gets us up in the morning?
That is a great question, Patty. Thank you for clarifying. So yes, so that's the thing. That's the response I get a lot is like, what do you mean? What's my why? Yes. Why do you get out of bed in the morning? What's your driving purpose? What is it? Maybe who is it? Well, a lot of women I talk to say it's their kids, their family, they live, that their why is their family and their kids, right? And that is obviously super important and noble and all that. But ladies, we have to have a why that is for us and about us. You know, it's what's going to get us through the tough times, something that we are super excited about, that drives us forward. And of course, our family is definitely going to be on that list, but we need to discover things that are for just for us. So we need to determine that why. And I've got a lot of work that I help women get down to that, because when you start, you know, peeling back the layers and figuring out what that is exactly, you have a shift in energy that's big time. And you get to the point where we work and we kind of talk about it, and we peel back the layers. And at some point, women just kind of go, oh, whoa, and get goosebumps. And they go, oh my gosh, that is it. And that's when you know you found your why. But, you know, it takes some change in our lifestyle. It takes some refocusing. And what, you know, we have to figure out, how bad do we want this? This is in your workbook. How bad do you want to relight that fire that drives you? It gets you so excited for what's coming ahead of you. How bad do you want this? And then, this is so true. People really only change due to inspiration or desperation, right? As humans, we avoid anything that feels like pain, and we instantly take action toward things that we believe are going to make us feel good, you know, that give us pleasure. That's what that comfort zone is called, and what it's all about. You're thinking to yourself, you know, great, yeah, I want to do that, but how do I do that? You know, I don't want to go to the desperation. How do I get to that inspiration? Doesn't just happen. So, you know, the cool thing is that I have several exercises and processes to help us get closer to our why on a daily basis, because it does evolve. And again, for some, we get there super quick, and for others, it takes some digging. It really does, because we've been burying it for a long time. And when you get there again, you are going to know, because you're going to be lit up again, and you're going to go, whoa, and you get to this unstoppable point. It's like mind over matter. You're there again. So our time's super limited today. So I'm touching on some things. I'm going to share with you a little one of my first recommendation about determining your why. And you may have heard of Simon Sinek. He is an inspirational speaker and an author, and he shares a great tip here that I'm going to try to get started here for you. So here we go.
Find a friend you love, and you know, one of those people who, if you called them at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know they'd take your call and you would take theirs. Don't do this with a spouse. Don't do this with a sibling. Don't do this with a boyfriend or girlfriend. Those relationships are too close. But find a best friend and ask them this simple question: why are we friends? And they're going to look at you like you're crazy, because it's very hard for the human brain to put our feelings into words, because the part of the brain that controls our feelings doesn't control language. This is why we use metaphors and analogies, and why we struggle to tell people how we actually feel. It's because it's a different part of the brain. And so they're going to look at you and be like, I don't know. Why are you asking me this? And you say, come on, I know you've been there for me my whole life. And then you actually stop asking the question why, ironically. You actually ask the question what. You say, come on, what specifically is it about me that I know you'd be there for me no matter what? And they're going to hem and haw, because it's hard to put into words. Don't help them. Don't let anybody else help them. And they're going to start describing you. I don't know. You're funny. You're smart. You're honest. You've always been there for me. You go, good. You play devil's advocate. Good. That's the definition of a friend. What specifically is about me that I'd know you'd be there for me no matter what? And again, they'll hem and haw, and some will get through this quickly, and some will get through it slowly, and it'll be a struggle, and you have to continue to play devil's advocate. Good, that's the definition of a close friend. What specifically is about me? And eventually, they'll give up. Eventually, they'll stop describing you, and they'll start describing themselves. Like my friend said to me, Simon, I don't know. All I know is that I can sit in a room with you. I don't even have to talk to you, and I feel inspired, and I got goosebumps. In fact, I'm getting them right now. They will put into words the value you have in their life, and you will have the emotional reaction. You'll either well up with tears or you will get goosebumps. This puts you in the ballpark. This is where your why lives. And if you do this with multiple friends, they will say the same kind of thing. In fact, sometimes they'll say the same exact thing, because your why is the thing you give to the world, and amongst your closest and best friends, it is the space you fill in their lives. So that's a fun little way you can find your why.
I love that. Your why is the reason you're here. I mean, I just, fills me up there. I love this video. I think it's a great first step to kind of discovering your why is talking to the people around you. And again, not the family, but your friends. Why do they love being your friend? So anyway, that's my first tip for discovering your why. Again, there's lots more great resources out there on this, and I have a lot more to share on that. But we're going to move on to key number 2 right now. Whoops. Okay, here we go. Key number 2, if you're ready, is explore your interests. And go ahead and fill that in your little workbook there. Explore your interests. So we want to start exploring, ways to cultivate some of the interests and activities that you may have let go of over the years. I like to think back to BK or B whatever before, maybe in high school, college days. What are the things that you loved to do? Was it dancing? Was it aerobics? Was it hiking? Was it painting? What are those things that you used to do for fun? And we do these things because we enjoy them, right? They capture our attention. They arouse our curiosity. They satisfy our need to accomplish things. So again, take a moment, close your eyes just for a moment and think back. What was it that back in the day, before all life happened and all the responsibilities, what was it that you used to love to do? Can I get anyone to share with me real quick what it was they used to love to do? Go ahead, Patty.
I used to just write and write and write and write. I loved writing. And I have to say, I went a long time without writing, dealing with, kids and health issues and things like that. And then it was writing that got me out of that ditch. So you're absolutely right. Like if you can reconnect to something that you love, it can just change everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else want to share one of their past interests? Okay, go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, I used to love to dance. I would go out dancing in the clubs with my friends for hours, dance 5 or 6 hours straight. And I do dance occasionally with my son, but it's not enough.
Well, maybe that's something we can explore then, right, Anne? Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Okay, so in your workbook, I have provided a long list of activities and interests, and I'm going to go click to that long list. And this is homework. We're not going to do this right now, but go ahead and go through each one of these and highlight the things that interest you. Anything that maybe you've done in the past. Maybe it's something that you thought, oh, I'd like to do that, but it was one of those things that you never got to do because you got busy. And then, so go through and highlight the ones that kind of spark an interest in you, and then pick 2 or 3 and start looking for opportunities to get involved. Just the power of doing this highlighting and then circling, that is setting an intention. And with the law of attraction, you've just planted the seed to start growing in that direction and exploring that again. And I can tell you from experience that this step can be life-changing. I mean, it truly can be life-changing. One passion leads to the next, almost without effort. And, when I was invited to be in the Mrs. Colorado America pageant, my first response was, no, I am not a pageant girl. No, thank you. That is not me. But, it was the end of 2020, and I was like, the things that they said were, oh, you get to meet some really super and powerful women that are doing great work for their communities, and you get to represent your community, and you get to kind of focus on yourself again and become the best version of yourself. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need that. and all that. So I just kind of started thinking, I'm like, you know what? It's been so doom and gloom lately. The reason I'm doing this is I'm going to add a little bling to the world, to my world. I'm going to bling up my world. I'm going to bling up my community by throwing this out there, and they're going to go, what the heck is she doing? And that's what they did. But, because I said yes to that, and it was scary. It's no joke, getting on stage in a bathing suit and heels. And yes, I did that. No joke, but I opened myself up. Thank you. Thank you. I opened myself up to this whole new world, and things started happening for me. Because of the process and because I'd never done it before, I hired a coach. I learned to take care of myself again, physically and mentally. I was researching already the topic of women and connection and wholeness. And that led me to write my book. And since then, one exciting opportunity after the next has just found its way and come my way. So it can be awkward and uncomfortable at first, but it's so worth it. So can I get a raise of hands from y'all? Are you willing to kind of explore some interests and kind of step in that direction? Give me a wave or sparkle fingers. Okay, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next key, which is my favorite, by the way. It is find your lady tribe. Oh, this is my greatest passion in the world, is to find that circle of support. It really is the drive behind everything I do right now. Reconnecting and helping women reconnect in a big and powerful way and create real, deep, meaningful friendships. We were truly built to belong. Absolutely. We were not created to go it alone. Over the decades of motherhood and our profession, many women have put their own personal friendships on the back burner. And this was in no way intentional at all. It was just out of necessity, out of too much to do, too little time, too many responsibilities. However, this neglect has left us surrounded only by people who love us, but frequently need something from us. Can I get an amen to that? Right? Amen. That is right. We have very few people in our lives who love us just because. Our girlfriends choose us not for what we can do for them, but because of who we are. They understand our busy lives because they have them too. Our friendships can be easily neglected because they demand nothing from us, right? The only ties that bind a true friendship, this is in your workbook, are those that we choose to tie. The only ties that bind us together are the ones that we choose to tie by our decision and our intention. So who is willing to give friendship, deep friendship, a seat at the table once again in their lives? Give me a little wave or sparkle fingers. All right, thank you. There are several things, and there are several myths out there about friendship. Things that could be holding us back. What could be holding us back? We're going to bust one of those today. We're going to bust a big one. And that is the myth that friendship should happen organically. Ladies, no, it's not true. There's nothing wrong with you if it's not happening organically. It does not just happen, right? So first, I want to first dive into the difference. What is friendship, right? And the difference between friendship and a friend. A friend, as defined in the dictionary, is a person, place, or thing, I believe, right? It's a noun, a person, place, or thing. And sure, okay. But we have lots of friends. We our neighbors that we wave to as we drive by each day, they are friends, right? People that we work with and pass and say hello and do some business with, sure, they're friends, right? Maybe even the checker that you always see at King Soopers, she's a friend because you go to her aisle and she checks you out and you visit a little bit and you laugh about the 25 hot dogs you have in for some event you come in. We have lots of, friends, and let's not even get started on social media. There we just tip the scales, hundreds, thousands maybe that we're connected to. The difference between a friend and a friendship is that friendship requires action. That's the ship part, I like to say. Ships move, right? Requires action. It's a verb. It requires something from us. And there are three main ingredients to friendship. First of all, time. Don't have a lot of that, do we, ladies? Time requires our time, requires our attention. And that means when we are together, when we make that time to be together, we are not distracted by devices and things going on. We are focused on our friendship and their presence, looking at them eyeball to eyeball and being with them. And then the third thing is enthusiasm. When you were, our kids were younger, or we'd come home from work and our kids would be like, woohoo, yes, and they're so excited to see you, and you just feel, it does fill your little love tank, doesn't it? Or maybe it's your dog. The dog sees you come home and whoa, they're so excited. Well, my kids are older now. They don't really run to the door to greet me anymore. And my dog is getting old. He may lift his head and go, oh, I see you there. That's something. But we needed that excitement and enthusiasm felt about us. And we can be that and provide that for our friendship. When we see each other, we're like, oh, I'm so glad to see you. I need this time with you. You are important to me. So that is something that we are able to provide to our friends. And there's an equation for tribe. Tribe equals friendship. Friendship is that time, attention, and enthusiasm, plus space, meaning your proximity. You are in the vicinity. You get to, on occasion, not just on occasion, but somewhat regularly see each other, monthly, hopefully at least. And then vulnerability. Oh boy, the V word. Don't we all love the V word, right? Vulnerability. So we'll talk about all that here going forward. And so as I was doing my research, I was trying to figure out what was keeping us from, as adults, making new friends, right? And what I found was we may be showing up in different circumstances in different ways. And I created this spectrum of authenticity to kind of illustrate the ways we may be showing up. And as I go forward and explain each section, I'm going to be describing her as if she is a person, but she is not. She is a piece of us. And just think about how she may be showing up for you. So the first level is the diffident. The diffident is kind of socially unsure, shy, not maybe an introvert, not super outgoing. She may lack a little self-confidence, and she really wants to connect, but she just doesn't know how to start. And you may especially feel like a diffident if you're entering something new, a new group, a new event or something, and you show up and you just kind of feel a little on the outside, and especially if it seems as though the rest of the group all know each other and you're just new. Have you ever felt like a diffident just by waving your hand? Have you ever felt this way? Yeah, absolutely. I've got a totally introvert side, and I absolutely feel this one. And when I read about it, I'm like, oh, that's me. And I went through each of the other sections like, oh, that's me sometimes, that's me sometimes. So the diffident is the first level. The second level of the friendship spectrum is jaded. Have you ever had a friend betray your trust? Have you ever shared something and then it came back, shared something that you thought was, it was a secret or something that was just important to you that you didn't expect to get out, and it did? The jaded person has been there, done that, got hurt, not going back, right? So generally she's inclined not to trust, and she's just, and I talk to a lot of women who say, you know what, I don't have a lot of girlfriends because I don't trust them. I like guy friends. Have you ever heard that or felt that with a little wave of your hand? I mean, have you ever felt jaded? Have you ever been hurt in a relationship with a woman? I mean, as a friendship. All right. So, it's okay. I think we've all been here. It's just not really okay to live here. And that's what I find a lot of women do. They live here in the jaded. They want those connections, but they just don't trust. All right. And I've got a lot of great tools and tricks to help set up relationships from the get-go so that you set it up with an upfront contract type of thing so you don't experience this with, you can really truly trust going forward and know these women have your heart and you have theirs. All right, the next level on the friendship authenticity spectrum is the friendly. And I made up this word as I was writing my book to describe a lot of the friendships that I had experienced in my life. And the friendly is a surface level connection, and it is really convenience oriented. It can really appear to be true because you may have some significant time with the friendlies because maybe you work together, or you are, let's say, a soccer mom, and you spend a lot of time with these other soccer moms on the bleachers and traveling and doing all these things. And over months and maybe even years, sometimes you develop these friendships and it feels really true. But you find once soccer is completely over and the kids move their separate ways, so does the friendship. So no convenience equals no connection. So if you've had people in your life that you thought were friends and kind of all of a sudden and you had something like that binding you together, and that went away and their friendship went away, don't let it hurt your feelings like it did me. Because it's not like they're mean girls or anything. It's just the friendlies is a special category of it's out of routine and convenience, and that's what it is. You have to actually build something outside of that activity to take a friendly to the next level. All right. So, okay, the next level of the friendship authenticity spectrum is the social. And the social is, friendly in nature, shares lots of positive stuff, but especially on social media. She's out there posting all these positive posts and inspirational things and memes and sharing her vacations and Christmas and kids stuff and all this wonderful stuff. And she is, oh my gosh, the first one to step up to help someone, but she's never going to ask for help. And it's okay to be needed, but she's not going to need anything from anyone because she doesn't want anyone to see the reality that is her life. She's only putting that positive stuff out. So sometimes she feels kind of like an imposter because here I'm putting all this good stuff, but I got all this icky stuff going on. I've definitely felt this and know this, and this is the world we live in when we're in social media, is that at that social level, that's that superficial level of our friendship. Who can relate to the social? Anybody? All right. We're going to move on to the last step, or the last level, or whatever you want to call it, of the authenticity spectrum, and that's the confidant. This is a tribal friendship. This is a way to be and communicate tribally with a select group of people. With our confidants, we are willing to share any and all brags and positive things and excitement and fears and failures even. It doesn't matter. This person, when you're feeling in the confidant with a person, you are just willing to say, I love you, because it's safe. This relationship is safe, and it is a deep, authentic connection. You're not going to share this and be this to everybody. This is for special people, and hopefully your family is included in that. Sometimes not, but this is really reserved for your 2 to 5 besties. All right, the people who are in your circle of support that lift you up and support you and cheer you on when you're doing great. And they're also going to call you out when they see you like drifting in the wrong direction, because they have that foundation of knowing you to know who you really are. And when you get off course, they're going to be the one to say, hey, let's get back on track. I see this and it worries me. And you may be offended a little bit at first, but you know it's coming from a place of love. So the confidant, that's the relationship that we're all aspiring to in that spectrum. But again, we are going to hit all the levels in different situations, but knowing and being aware of each of these is, just a huge benefit, I think. What I want to share with you now, so now that we realize why we're disconnected, right? And how we may be showing up in different situations, how do we begin the process of establishing deeper friendships and creating that tribe of support? So you may have some fears about building new friendship. And I hope you can see this when it comes up. I just made this slide recently. So how do I make friends as an adult? And if you are like me, I'm shifting some of the people over to the other side. How do I make friends as an adult? I don't know how to do that, right? Well, I've got lots of tips and tricks and tools for that. And tapping into the Ms. Midlife Facebook group was a great way to kind of start getting those and connecting with me. And I'll show you some ways to do that later. Or just meeting with me one-on-one. Maybe I'm an introvert. I'm going to do a whole series on how to make friends as an introvert, because as an introvert, I can totally relate and speak to this. How do I make friends? Another fear might be, how do I expand and deepen these social media friends? I really like a few of these people, kind of, and I'd like to get to know them, but how do I reach out and not make it weird, right? So I've got some strategies to help that. Where can I go to find new friends? What do I do? And where do I go? How do I show up? What do I do when I'm there? And then some other fears. I don't want to get hurt. I've, like I said, been there, done that. I can't open myself up like that anymore. I will not be hurt again like that. So I'd love to share further on some of these strategies on how not to get hurt, how to set it up right in the beginning. People will think I'm weird if I, reach out and try to be friends with them, because as an adult, it's not as easy. I don't want people to look at me funny. It's awkward starting conversations, right? How do I start a new conversation with someone that I kind of get a vibe from, that I'd like to get to know better? How do I do that? I don't know how to be vulnerable, and I don't want to be vulnerable. How do I do that safely? How do I do that, in the right way? How do I build my own tribe? These are all questions and fears that I've heard from women. And again, this is another one, maybe you have a friend that you like, she's kind of dragging you down energetically. You guys have changed, you've grown apart. How do I cut ties with a friend that I need to make space for something new? What fears do you have? Just think about it and jot some of those down. And it's something maybe we can talk about one-on-one at some point in time. All right, so in your notes, here's a few ways to get started. Who is already a member of my tribe? Jot down a few names, okay? These are people that you are already connecting with on the confidant level. And guess what? You may not have any. That's kind of where I was for a bit, and it's okay. So don't feel bad if that number is zero. And the confidant and the tribe in this experience should not include your family, maybe a sister if you're super best friends, but who's already a member of your tribe? Number two, who do I already know that I may want to grow deeper with? Just jot down a few names. This could be a friend of a friend, someone that you kind of know through someone else, but you really haven't connected one-on-one yet. This could be maybe you go on a walk every day and you pass someone at the same time. Well, the universe is bringing you guys together on a regular basis. You give each other a smile every day. Maybe just write down blonde woman on the bike trail, because you don't even know her name yet. So write down 2 or 3 people that you might want to kind of just explore a little bit with, go a little deeper with. Where can I go to meet new people to build a tribe? Where can I go? And when you're thinking of this, think about what interests can I explore? Because if you go sign up for an art class that you're really excited about, you're going to meet some people there, right? And if you go with the intention of not only exploring that interest, but meeting a few people, you already have something to talk about. Right off the bat, you have a common interest. So that's a fast track to friendship right there, is finding someone who has the same interest. So what interests can I explore? And what groups can I tap into? You know, maybe it's a church group, or maybe it's the Chamber of Commerce, or maybe it's, you know, just other local activities and things. Look for things happening that you can go show up and volunteer for, or just be a part of, or show up regularly at. And regularity is kind of a key here. So when you're exploring an interest or you're going to a group, the magic number is 3. You got to show up 3 times. The first time will be awkward and uncomfortable sometimes. The second time you might see a familiar face or 2. And then the third time you kind of have that sense, and it's maybe that's the vantage point where you start reaching out and making these connections, taking them to the next level. So super important is to add placeholders in your calendar for tribe. You know, where do you put important things in your life? You know, important things you have to do and appointments and all that. You put them in your calendar, right? When's the last time you put a friendship thing, even seeking friendship, finding friendship on your calendar? If it's important to you, you need to block out some time for it and make a commitment to it. And that is the decision, and then taking the action to move forward on it. So put that placeholder in your calendar for friendship building time. All right. At this time, I want to invite you all to a retreat that I have coming up with a group of wonderful powerhouses, some powerhouse women that we are doing in May 4th through 7th in Breckenridge, Colorado. It's called the Whole You Retreat. We've done this before and it was fabulous. It's a life-changing event. A retreat not only including yoga and meditation and just grounding and relaxing, but also a time to explore your own self and get some personal growth. So check out the Whole You Retreat. I think in my link tree, there is a link to that. So definitely check that. I invite you to join us. There's just a few spots left. We're honestly almost sold out. I'm so excited about it. All right, so let's stay connected. Welcome to our inner circle. Inner circle is just, you're going to be the first ones to know about upcoming events and activities and connecting events and a friendship tip here or there. All right. And so I do have a podcast. I'm currently in the off season, but it's called Find Your Lady Tribe. You can find it on YouTube or your favorite podcast service. There are many, many episodes in the past that you can go check out that are where we're talking on different subjects. And there's my link tree. Connect with me in all the different social media ways, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you like, I'm there. Connect with me there, please. And I invite you right now, you know, maybe you are, you know, this is just a starting point and you're kind of looking for more. You've been focusing on other people for so long and you're just ready to dig in and get started in a meaningful way. And I'd like to invite you right now to just sit down with me for 30 minutes for a complimentary one-on-one breakthrough session to kind of get you launched, get you going in the right direction. And I'd like to learn a little bit more about you personally and see if I can offer any advice to kind of flip that switch, like Jane did for me many years ago, light that fire that gets you excited about life again. So if you would, ladies, if you haven't already done so, put my little link in the chat of how to book a complimentary Me Again breakthrough session. That's kind of what I like to call it. But I'd love to connect with you there. So please take me up on that free opportunity just to connect one-on-one. And so I kind of always just wrap up everything I do with my catchphrase, when 3 or more gather, we are tribe. So I thank you. I'm so grateful for you being here with us today. It's been a nice power hour of positivity and just seeing your bright faces. I really appreciate it. I really do hope to continue to connect with you on one of the many different avenues that we have before us. So with that, I guess, how did I do on time? Oh gosh, I did wrap up in time this time. I am just, usually I'm a couple minutes over. So if anyone has any questions, I'm absolutely here to stay on for a few minutes and answer those for you. But this is the conclusion of the Clarity for Midlife Women workshop. Thank you. Go ahead and unmute yourself and say bye as you're signing off.
Bye and thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
So wonderful. Thank you
This is
so much. I
excellent.
loved
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
You as well.